Broadcasting live from the KSHP studios in the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada. It's time to get on the right side of sports betting. It's time for the Odds Couple.
Welcome to the Odds Couple on KSHP AM 1400 Radio. We're live and worldwide on Vegas Video Network. My name is Scott Pritchard. I'm a professional sports bettor handicapper. Check me out, pritchardspicks.com. Joined as always by Brett Grant. Together, we are the Odds Couple. Happy Monday.
It's good to have you back.
How was your weekend?
Not as bad as yours.
Huh?
You had to watch some bad baseball in Anaheim.
I'm thinking.
Or good if you're a Pirates fan.
Well, I'm a dog player. I like the pluses. And the Pirates have been the biggest money maker this season. So what do? I go to Anaheim, I bet the Angels. So I went to the game Friday night. First of all, it was a great weekend. It had nothing to do with the Angels. It was a great weekend because I spent one-on-one father-daughter time with my daughter Skylar, age 10. It was awesome. I mean, couldn't ask for more. Going to Newport Beach, checking out the beach, bike riding on the pier. It was great.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the Angels. They are a joke. What say you?
Well, we were talking about the game yesterday. They lost Friday night. They lose Saturday night. They should have won yesterday. They're up 6-3 in the top of the ninth, and the Pirates come back and score 3 runs to tie the game. Then they score 4, the Pirates do, in the top of the 10th, and the Angels make a comeback in the bottom of the 10th and end up losing the game 10-9. But it's the fundamentals, and we saw it in the Sunday night game. If anybody stayed up late enough on the who might be in the East Coast or Central Time Zone to watch the end of the Rangers game. But you mentioned it. The left fielder of the Angels turns a single into a triple in the 10th inning, throws to the wrong base. They play a ball over the wrong shoulder. The Cardinals shortstop in their game drops a pop-up. The teams are losing because of fundamental, easy plays.
Well, in defense of your Cardinals, I was watching that game last night against the Texas Rangers. Wainwright, what a great pitcher this guy. I felt bad for him because this team, your shortstop, made a big error that cost, and we were Facebooking each other, and I said, listen, errors oftentimes will cost you the game, and ultimately it cost the Cardinals the game. But the Cardinals are the exception. The Angels, they're the rule. They will find a way to lose. The Cardinals, fact is, numbers-wise, they are no team in all of baseball has fewer errors than the Cardinals. I think 29, 30 errors for the entire season. So is somewhat an anomaly.
Right.
Whereas for the Angels, it's just another game for them. You talked about Shuck, the left fielder. Well, I have a couple of bones of contention with the Angels. First of all, if you're the Chicago Cubs, the bar is pretty low. We don't expect much. But if you're the Los Angeles Angels, all right, based on their payroll and based on the fact they're in Southern California, you're supposed to actually be competitive. They have been a joke for the past 3 years, and I'm calling out the manager. I'm the only one on the planet to call out the manager. What has this guy done since 2003? Here's a question. Call me crazy. But yesterday, Josh Hamilton not playing, not in the lineup. That's fine. Didn't play Friday, Saturday. Now not playing yesterday. But in the 9th inning, you're up 6-3 Angels. The right fielder is Josh Hamilton. I'm thinking, why? Am I missing something? Did I miss the memo that this guy's a great defensive player? He's a clown in the outfield. He's there to hit the ball. But I'm thinking, why is he playing in the 9th inning? It's 6-3 Angels up. They gave the lead away. Now it's 6-6. And so now Josh Hamilton is going to lead off the bottom of the 9th. I'm thinking, wow, this manager for the Angels, talk about foresight. But then what does he do? He pinch hits for the guy.
I'm thinking, why did he do that?
So Harris, who as bad as Hamilton has been, $125 million man, batting like 205, you put in Harris, and of course, predictable situation, he doesn't do squat. But why would you put Hamilton in the game, period?
Well, I think they were shorthanded because Peter Borges got injured earlier in the game, and they had to move then Trout to center field, and then they had to put in Shuck. And I think they were short an outfielder there. So Hamilton's not an awful outfielder. His effort lacks at times,
right.
And that's what makes him average in the field. If he brings his effort, I'm not sure where his head is right now, a little different. But I thought that was rather, okay, you're bringing in Hamilton. Okay, now none of the Angels' problems in the top of the 9th were because of Hamilton. They all went to the left field,
right.
And it was issues over there. The ball over the head of that was when the ball went over the head of Shuck that tied the game.
It would have just been the
base hit that went by him for 3 runs. That was in the 10th, right?
Yes,
okay,
yes, that is correct.
So make sure I got the sequence correct. But on the other side of it, Yeah, you're right. Why do we bring him in the game if we're not going to let the guy we spent $25 million on to swing going to swing the bat? Now, they did have a lefty-lefty matchup more than likely, and that's why they made that move. And I'm left-handed, and I can strike out Josh Hamilton. There's no question. The bigger issue is, can I throw the ball 60 feet 6 inches? If I can, Hamilton will swing at it.
You don't have to, because you can throw it 58 feet in the dirt. He's still swinging and missing. Exactly. It doesn't matter.
You're right. It doesn't matter.
But Shuck, I want to address this guy. And first of all, Shuck has been a very good hitter. He's been good. He was in the starting lineup yesterday, and he did a good job. But in the ninth, the game's on the line, and it's on the closer. He only blew one save the entire year, but with a 3-run lead in the ninth inning, the worst thing you do, you don't walk guys. But then McCutchen didn't even play in the game. So, but he came in and pinch hit late.
Right.
Marte came through. This Pirates team, we talked about them on Friday. I know you were on the Pirates plus Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so congratulations on that. But I call people out because last night and again today I've had no less than 3 people tell me what you told me, that they were on the Pirates. It's like, wow, that's interesting. I saw you on Friday. You didn't say squat about being on the Pirates.
I didn't see you Friday.
We talked. I was on the show. I was on the phone.
But we were talking about the Pirates.
But the question is, it's not you. I'm talking about my cronies, because it's like, listen, don't ever talk to me about something that's already happened. All right?
Right.
Because if the Pirates lost all 3 games, you wouldn't even be telling me that you had them for those 3 games. Now, I'm not talking about you, because you're honorable. But my circle of friends, not always the case.
I understand. Many of them have been guests on the show, by the way.
They have.
The interesting thing about the Pirates, the Cardinals have the best record in baseball still. You keep telling me it's not going to happen. It might not after tomorrow. Because the Pirates
I said 3 weeks. It's only been 2.
Okay. Well, the Pirates are 1 game behind the Cardinals, and the Reds are 2 games behind the Pirates. So the best 3 teams in baseball are in the National League Central, with the Cardinals, the Pirates, and the Reds. If the Pirates were in any other division in baseball, they would be in first place. My question is, I guess, from a value standpoint and from an odds maker standpoint, are they not being undervalued still? Because, here they are. They're 45-32. What more? We're more than a third of the way through the season. We played 75, 76, 77 games. We're nearly halfway through the season. And they're dog against an Angels team that's what? The Angels are 10 games under 500. Why are the odds makers not making an adjustment in that regard with regards to the Pirates?
The odds makers are simply saying, and I actually was buying it, but no more. Okay, I'm done with my Angels stock. Okay, I don't want to go broke betting on Josh Hamilton. Not going to happen, okay? Next time I go to Angel Stadium, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to balance the scale, try to get back a couple $1,000s that I lost this weekend. I had the over on Friday night and lost by a half a run, so that did not feel well. I was on Jared Weaver minus the juice. I'm a dog player. I go see games. I feel the need to lay the lumber, cash the ticket, and I lose. Next time I go to Anaheim Stadium, next time I go to the Big A, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get back. I'm going to start just slowly trying to get my money back. I'm going to buy $5 bleacher tickets, and I'm going to sit in a $150 seat. I'll show them.
And eat the hot dogs instead of wagering on the game.
Never. I respect my money. I respect my money. I never eat stadium food. I never eat at the theater. And, again, I'm buying bleacher seats for $5, and I'll sit in very expensive seats to try to get my money back, because every Tom, Dick, and Harry is paying Josh Hamilton's salary to watch him not hit the ball.
Yeah, now back to the Pirates, though, real quick. Here, if the playoffs started today, let's say today was the end of the regular season, the Pirates and the Reds have a 6-game lead on the Giants for the wild card spot. Here's the interesting thing. The Kansas City Royals are closer to the playoffs than the world champion San Francisco Giants are closer to the playoffs. And when you look at the Pirates team, the Pirates really, we see the second half collapse quite a bit. I don't necessarily see it with the Pirates as much this year. They have a lot of very good young pitching, and they have some hitters to help Andrew McCutchen as well. Guys like Russell Martin, Marte that you talked about.
Alvarez
been very good. Mercer at shortstop's been swinging the bat pretty well. A nice weekend in Anaheim. I think the Pirates are for real. At least I think they're going to be playing some meaningful games come September.
Well, again, what's interesting here is you have to look at it from a day-to-day standpoint, or are you talking about postseason? And the reason I say that is because you have perhaps 3 of the best teams in all of baseball all within the same division. So you want to obviously win your division as opposed to having to play an extra game even to get into the playoffs as an extra wild card team. Right. The Pittsburgh Pirates, the fact today you have to say, not me, but you have to say that they've been undervalued because we know they've been a cash cow, but timing is everything. I'm not convinced today is the day to be on the Pirates, knowing that they are 45-32, and yes, they continue to be a dog. I think the odds makers had it right. I really do. I give the Pirates credit, but you're talking about a team that is better or not as good. They're not as good as their record, and the Angels are better than their record. That's why Angels at home, interleague, the Pirates are going to have to bring an extra bat, and it took a fluke for the Pirates to win yesterday. They scored 7 runs in the last 2 innings. The closer for the Angels did not get it done. A 6-3 lead in the 9th inning. They have to find a way to close the game. Yeah. Mike Trout, as good as he is, I'm calling him out. Mike Trout is the man. But a couple of things. You know what? I just thought of this. I'm glad that we're talking about this because Mike Trout, I've seen him fall asleep after hitting a double. He's been picked off second base. Right. I've seen him make the outstanding play in center field, left field. Friday night he did the same thing, and that's what cost me my total. It was a run. He made a
great diving catch.
Yeah, exactly, and that was the difference.
I think I had that total as well.
You had the over, so you know. So you lost by half run like me. Misery loves company.
The Pirates. So
yeah, I know. I heard. You told me 7 times now. I had the Angels, by the way. Did I mention I had the Angels and lost?
Yeah, I had the Pirates.
You had the Pirates. But Mike Trout, here, I'm starting to think that you care more about the Angels winning than the Angels. I'm telling you.
I agree.
I'm serious. Here's what I saw yesterday. The Angels up 6-3 in the 9th. Now they're down 10-6 in the 10th. They're down 10-6. And what do I see? Mike Trout is in center field hobnobbing with Shuck, the 2 goats in this game, and they're laughing, joking, smiling. I'm convinced you, the sports bettor, care more about if they win or lose than if they do. Because if we lose, we don't get paid. In fact, we lose money. But they're getting paid regardless. It doesn't bode well. I don't like that. I don't like what I'm seeing with Mike Trout. As good as he is, he misplayed the ball in the 10th inning that started the 4-run rally, or the 4-run rally for the Pirates. And then he's also the guy who chased and struck out with guys on second and third to end the game.
Trout was batting second yesterday. Pujols third. Trumbo fourth, a combined 0 for 15 in the game. And then if you throw in Josh Hamilton, who's not at bat. So you take the 4 biggest stars on the Angels, they were 0 for the game yesterday. And it hasn't been a great year, obviously, for Pujols, batting only 258. Trumbo's been pretty good, but his average is down to 253. He's been struggling lately. Trout is still hitting over 300. But you're right. It's the bottom of that order from Kendrick and Callaspo. Those guys, they're the ones that are getting the team running around and doing, and the bottom of that order is doing a good job.
I like Trout. I like Kendrick, but I'm also saying that I didn't go to the game yesterday. I drove back to Vegas as opposed to going to that game. I mean, I expect to see the Keystone Cops play when I see the Cubs play. Just not used to seeing it when I play the Angels. And this manager, why is he off the hook? No one ever calls this guy out. Never calls him out. You can't fire the team. You can fire the hitting coach like they did last year, all right? But ultimately, it's on his shoulders, man. I know he's a popular guy. He's a likable guy. But how about winning a game or two? How about that?
And you have to be over 500 at home. You have to dominate at home. They're 20-23 at home, are the Angels. At home. I have to correct myself. I gave you the wrong stat for the Pirates. They're actually 46-30 on the year. It's the Reds.
16 games
over 500. It's the Reds that are 45-32. I was looking at the wrong thing. But the Pirates, as we talked about a little bit maybe on Thursday or Friday, if you're a good team in baseball, you dominate at home, and you are at least 500 or better on the road. This Pirates team after the sweep now 21-17 on the road and very good at home. 12 games over 500. They're not a mystery in that regard. They're winning on the road. They're winning at home, and the Angels. They're like, they can't win at home and they get killed on the road. They're like a possum.
Here's the concern. We talk about you can't fire the team, you can only fire the manager, but the manager for the Angels, I look at how do you determine if the guy is doing his job or not? I look for undiscipline. Mm-hmm. That's why the Raiders have never had a good coach because they lack discipline. Brady's teams, they don't turn the ball over generally, and they don't, or Belichick, they don't turn the ball over, they don't beat themselves, they don't have a lot of penalties. Like the guy from... Is it Mike Smith, the coach for the Atlanta Falcons?
Yeah.
They led the league. They set the league record in the history of the fewest penalty yards. I love predictability. I know what I'm getting with the Atlanta Falcons. They're not a sexy team. They don't beat themselves. The reason Joe Flacco and the Ravens won the Super Bowl, don't kid yourself. They didn't match up well against the Broncos. They won. Didn't match up well against the Pats. They won. They were a dog in the Super Bowl. They won. Why? They didn't beat themselves. Joe Flacco, average quarterback. All right, a good quarterback. Not a great quarterback, but he did one thing. He did not turn the ball over.
Right.
I look at this Angels team, and they're making blunders. They're making mental mistakes. They're undisciplined. They have talent. They're not. And you talked about the big guns, 0 for 15 yesterday. Now that I think about it, the next time I go, if I paid $5 to watch the Angels play, I would ask for my money back.
Right.
I would.
Well, my fantasy team had a bad day yesterday because Pujols and Pujols and Trumbo are two of our guys. So it was a bad day for me, thinking it's every Sunday these guys don't perform, and it seems to be on Sunday. Now to go 0 for 15, those three guys, and lose a game 10-9. I mean, they didn't lose 1-0. They lost 10-9, and those three guys were 0 for 15, and Hamilton basically didn't play. So you take their four biggest guys, and the other guys scored 9 runs. Now, if I'm Mike Socha, I'm thinking, you know what? All 4 of those guys need a day off. I'm going to let somebody else go out and play. I got 9 runs without those guys. That's the one thing they don't do in the big sports as much. You'll see it in hockey occasionally, not very much. But they're always afraid of sitting their guy down or embarrassing them by dropping them in the order. And it's what's best for the team. I mean, I'll give Socha credit. As far as I know, Hamilton's not hurt. He's been out of the lineup. I'll give Socha credit. He has not been performing. I'm taking him out of the lineup and putting somebody else in there who might be able to get the job done. Maybe that'll get Josh Hamilton's attention. You don't see that in the NBA or in other sports necessarily. You're not going to put Tom Brady on the bench because he had a couple bad weeks in a row and do that. You'll do it to Tim Tebow, but you won't do it to a superstar quarterback.
Peter Borges, the center fielder for the Los Angeles Angels. I'm at the game Friday night, sitting behind home plate. The guy's making over $1 million a year, a routine pop-up to center field. No sun. He lost the ball. I mean, Little League baseball players are more exciting to watch than this Los Angeles Angels baseball team.
It's a high sky there in Anaheim.
Is that what it is?
I
think
that's
the excuse? Is
some
that the
Disney
story?
balloons flying over. Look at that. It's the.
Now that you mention it, there was a blimp. No, wait, that was me. There was a blimp. There was an over. So maybe that.
Well, let's look at a perfect example last year of a coach who could not put down a starter that needed to be put down. It almost sounded like a horse trainer needs to put down his horse. But Mark Sanchez should have been put down last year. And and we went through week after week after week after week watching Mark Sanchez go 9 for 26 with 3 turnovers and 85 yards passing, and they would not make a change, whether it was DeMcElroy. And they finally did after, week 15 or something? By the time the Jets season was long gone, they showed way too much loyalty to some of these guys. And I think the coaches, they're putting their own careers in precarious situations because they're holding on to a loyal player that's not performing anymore. They've got to be a little more cutthroat with that.
I don't think the Jets had any choice. Mark Sanchez might have been the worst starting quarterback in all of football, but if Tim Tebow is your backup quarterback, you have no backup quarterback.
Well, they skipped over him and went to McElroy. Look at the Arizona Cardinals. They tried 800 quarterbacks last year. They all sucked, but at least they tried. I mean, the Jets kept going to the same guy over and over and over again. That makes no sense to me. You know, the definition of what? Of insanity is do the same thing over and over. That's what Rex Ryan was doing.
Different results.
Right. At least Ken Wisenhunt at Arizona was going, all right, you suck. Kevin Cobb, you suck. Jay Skelton, you suck. What's that guy from San Diego State? Lindsey, you suck. I'm just going to keep throwing guys in there. Can the garbage man throw? Anybody. Hand off the ball. I just think you got to try some stuff, especially because like you said, who's getting fired? It's going to be the coach. So,
unless you're the manager of the Angels, and then you just get a free ride, a free pass. No one ever calls this guy out. I'm calling him out. I've been calling him out. I'm going to keep calling him out.
They've got to start turning around pretty quick. I mean, you're 10 games under 500 with probably the second or third highest payroll in baseball.
You have talent.
Those results, Artie Moreno cannot have that much patience.
The Dodgers, as pathetic as they have been, we broadcast their games here on the network, but I'm telling you.
They're just as bad.
But at least they've had some injuries. So, I mean, but the
They're
Angels.
Healthy now.
Well, yeah, but still.
Okay.
Still
they're also 10 games under 500.
But the Angels have been healthy, with the exception of Jared Weaver. That's the other thing I want to talk about. Friday night, tracking the game, Jared Weaver. I've gone on record. I'm a believer. Well, I am a non-believer.
My kids yelled at me because I said, Jared, I'm going to be Weaver. And they go, Dad, that's horrible.
That's bad. That's so corny. Wait, and you said, that's not me. It's Scott.
It's Scott, yeah.
Great.
So,
pass the buck.
I told him I'd be weaved that the Angels were going to lose. So,
well, his fastball, 84, 85 miles an hour Friday night. His off speed,
12, 13 miles an hour.
A little better. 74, 70.
Yeah.
Idea, he wasn't fooling anyone.
Right.
He got hammered. He got rocked. He came back and won his first game, and I was on him. But, man, I bet him on Friday night, just not happy. It was a bad – I'm telling you, the guy's not the same pitcher. I mean, coming off the DL, it's going to take some time perhaps, but 85 miles, no velocity. I mean, the Pirates, a National League team, to go on the road and just stick it to this team. Mm-hmm. And no defense, no coaching, bullpen. Are you kidding me? 7 runs. You're up 3 runs in the 9th inning.
Oops. Well, the Pirates almost blew a 4-run lead in the 10th.
Well, and they should have. They actually, I mean – but again, you've got guys swinging. It was 3-2 pitch to the leadoff man in that inning, and he chased ball 4, swinging and missing. It's like, really? Are you kidding? You need base runners. You're not going to hit a 4-run home run as a leadoff man.
He was swinging for the fences, that's for sure.
You're listening to The Odds Couple on KSHP AM 1400 Radio, Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada. My name is Scott Pritchard, professional sports bettor handicapper, featured all over my own site, Pritchard'sPicks.com. Check it out. Some of the information is free. Some of it you do have to pay for. I'm doing a sports betting seminar, how to bet football and when. Opening weekend of football. It's Friday, September 6th, Harrah's Hotel Casino on the Strip, Las Vegas. Go to Pritchard'sPicks.com. Receive a big fat discount. I'm joined by Brett Grant, the GM here at KSHP. Together, we are The Odds Couple, live worldwide, Vegas Video Network, Monday through Friday from 10A to 11A. I'm having fun. What say you?
I say the same thing. I'm having fun. We should let people know next week we're on vacation.
Your whole life is a vacation.
We are on vacation.
Well, all right. We're going to give the sports books. We're still not going to give the sports books a break. We'll still be betting on a day-to-day basis. But
well, it depends on where we are.
Where are you going to be?
I have no idea yet. I might be in Anaheim because
the
Cardinals are there.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, so I can wear red and nobody will shoot me because I'm actually wearing Angels colors. I'll be good to go. No, I'm kidding.
You know, my buddy Anthony Padilla makes me laugh because only he could go to his home stadium fan-based team, the Arizona Cardinals, for football, and wear an Arizona Cardinal jersey and get heckled. He ended up stuck in the San Francisco 49er section, and they were heckling him the entire time. Only Anthony Padilla.
I have a funny story. Back when the Western Athletic Conference, when UNLV was a member of the WAC, we used to have the WAC championship game at Sam Boyd Stadium. So I got a bunch of tickets to the game, and I went with all of my hockey buddies who are basically professional drinkers, right? So we got our flasks. It's the middle of December. It's cold. It's BYU and Air Force, and we are having fun. We're in Las Vegas. It's probably 1997 or 8 when I just moved to town. And here we are sitting in the BYU student section. And we are drinking like crazy. We got the dirtiest looks I've ever seen in my life. It was fun, though. Good time.
I bet. You know, it reminded me, Brett, of when I was in Oakland on a Monday night, and I had a big bet on the Broncos, but it was cold. Mile High City, Denver, Colorado, November, cold. I'm wearing my black leather jacket, my black stocking cap, and I've got the Broncos. I'm pulling for the Broncos, but I'm standing in the walkway at about the 35-yard line, and beer was spilled on me intentionally because I thought I was a Raider fan. Black hat, black leather jacket. My buddy Steve, who was the NFL draft expert guy, you know, the guy I asked a question, he talked for 15 minutes.
I remember that guy.
Okay.
It's a great nap.
We were in Oakland to see the Raiders play the Jets. And he's a diehard Jets fan because he's from New York. And he was so proud to wear his Vinny Testaverde green Jets jersey. I said, listen, you're going to get shot. You're going to get stabbed. Do not wear the. He said, no, man, I'm proud. It's Jets. I said, no, man. They check you for weapons. You can, but I'm not going to sit with you. So he covered up his jersey. It's a good thing. That's the most hostile
it's a
crowd.
tough place. Yeah.
Oakland Raiders.
No question. The
fans, I don't know who has less discipline. The fans? We don't expect them to have discipline, but I think they have more discipline than the team, the Raiders.
Yeah, the team, their commitment to penalties. They changed that logo. It says commitment to penalties down there at the bottom. And they probably have set the record for most coaches ever. They just fire guys left and right. If Mike Scioscia, he wants job security, that'd be the last place to go over there, would be to
No doubt. You're listening to The Odds Couple on KSHP AM 1400 Radio, live and worldwide, Vegas Video Network. The studio line is open, 702-221-7283. Live chat up and running. Again, the studio number is 702-221-7283. You want to talk sports betting. Doc, heading west. What say you?
Well, and they worked out it. They traded their coach. Don't recall hearing that. It sounds very Charleston Chiefs slapshotish. We're trading the coach. I mean, what if Boston didn't? I mean, obviously Boston wanted to get some compensation back out of him, and they did. They'll get a draft pick. And I guess what was holding up all this was they were giving active players for a coach, and they couldn't. The league said, no, we're not going to give you a player for a coach.
David Stern just makes it up as he goes along.
Pretty much. But they finally worked out the contract. It was going to be a draft pick, I think, next year or 2015, I guess, in the NBA draft is what it's going to be. But the question is, the Clippers are doing this obviously on the come, saying, okay, we got Doc Rivers. Now, Chris Paul, you have to stay because we just went and got Doc Rivers. So I'm assuming that when these negotiations were happening, that the Clippers were, is this okay, Chris? Is this okay, CP3, if we do this for you? Are you going to be a good boy and sign a contract with us? I mean, this the kowtowing to the superstars. And that's sure that's what this is all about. Chris Paul says, I will stay. You get Doc Rivers to be our coach. I'll stay.
I guarantee you're right. He's even admitted to the fact that he loves Doc Rivers. But this is the same crybaby whiner who's saying, I had nothing to do with Vinny Del Negro getting fired. Yes, you did. You are the coach. You're not fooling anybody. Doc Rivers, a media darling. Everyone loves Doc Rivers. Is he a great coach? No. He's an average coach. The guy had no experience whatsoever. I actually heard the media. The win total for the Celtics, the first year that Doc Rivers took over, the win total was over under 30. Now, the year before, they didn't win many games, but the media, I actually heard a media guy say this after they voted Doc Rivers, former media guy, by the way, coach of the year. Oh, a lot of people didn't think the Celtics would win 7 or 8 games this entire season. This is a media person, an NBA expert, saying something so irresponsible when, in essence, in Vegas, the over-under for total wins for Doc Rivers Celtics was 30. So is he a good coach? Probably. A great coach? Not even close. He's a media darling. He's likable. He's a player's coach. Won NBA championship. But come on, during the prime, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and some guy named Ray Allen.
Pretty good players.
Outstanding players.
That's for
so
sure.
to really go out of your way, and you say a draft pick, but it's a first-round draft pick. That is a big, big deal.
Well, the Clippers, assuming the Clippers are going to be good, it'll be a low first-round draft pick. It won't be an upper first-round draft pick. And when you think of the Clippers
I think
roster,
it's too much.
Well,
and I realize he's popular, and I realize Los Angeles. We broadcast the Clipper games, but if you're going to put your money on Doc Rivers, you might as well move to Vegas and bet WNBA basketball.
We got to find some more enigma type teams to broadcast. We got the Dodgers, we got the Clippers. Who else can we get? Should I go get the Jets?
Why not?
How
about the Patriots now? They've got a Ray Lewis wannabe with Aaron Hernandez now up on some charges.
Yeah, I was gonna.
We're going to save that.
Has he been charged yet?
Not yet. But boy, talk about non-compliant. Something about through my attorney. Here's my cell phone. I'm being very compliant. Oh, it's in 100 pieces. Sorry. And my surveillance? It's been trashed. But I'm innocent.
I didn't do anything.
And Ray Lewis, where is that blood-stained mink coat that you had that we never did find?
It was in the dumpster, long way away. Amazing. My brothers were down the street that night. It was when the Cardinals
in Atlanta,
the Rams had won the Super Bowl against the Tennessee Titans. They were there in that, was it called the Bucktown area, I guess it was.
Okay.
In that neck of the woods, and not very far away from where this all happened, at about that time of the night, too, because everybody was celebrating after the Super Bowl was over. So
I was there. I was there for the Super Bowl, but I was sound asleep. I had nothing to do with this. I didn't do it, I swear. And besides, you can't prove a thing.
I think it was he was wearing a white tuxedo. I think that's what it was.
That's what it was.
White suit or white suit.
Yeah, no, it was a white, blood-soaked, stained tuxedo that no one has, that mysteriously disappeared.
He would have gotten the mink coat cleaned So I'm just saying.
But that guy can dance, that Ray Lewis. I'm telling
sure
you, that
he
guy can dance.
Well, especially around charges of murder. It's pretty good dancing. We have a live chat question. Let me throw this at you. This is from a good friend, Blake, who says, have you given any thought towards NFL futures and or over-under win totals yet, or do you prefer to wait and see how the training camp and preseason plays out?
Good question, Blake. We enjoy hearing from you. I wonder if that's my buddy Blake from Boca Raton, Florida. If it is, hello, Blake. If not, hello, strange man who's live chatting us on a Monday in Sin City. The question is in regards to NFL futures, total wins, over, under. I have to say that it's never too early to look for value. I don't like tying up my money for an entire game, 3 hours. So that's why I bet the first half or I bet the first 5 innings of a baseball game. But value is value is value. I don't usually talk about this until after all my bets have been down. But there is a team in the NFL this year that I like, a long shot team. I'm about value. All this team has to do, make the playoffs, and you're going to cash and make some good money. When betting futures for NFL football, the first thing you want to look at is, does this team have talent? That's helpful. Probably more important than that, I mean this, probably more important than this is schedule.
Okay.
Ideally, if you're going to bet a team, I never bet a team to win the Super Bowl. I bet a team to win the conference, because in the conference championship game, anyone can win a Super Bowl, just get there. But a conference championship game is where you want to bet. You want to find a team with a very favorable schedule. The NFL has it ass backwards. They reward negative behavior. If you were bad last year, they reward you with a favorable schedule the next year. So it's kind of a zigzag. Last year, I had the Patriots at 5-1 to win the AFC Conference Championship. They were in the championship game. The rest is history. I'm a big fat 9-point favorite, plus 3-1 on the money line, minus 4-1. So if you're having 5-1 on the Patriots, plus 3-1 on the Ravens, life is good. You want to deal with pluses. This year, I'm looking at a long shot team in the conference championship game. All this team has to do when you're getting 25 to 30-1 odds, make the playoffs. You have to see it before it happens. This team, Kansas City Chiefs, they won 2 games last year. They had the number 1 pick. They built this team, this current team, through the draft, but they also were very aggressive during the offseason. Alex Smith, 20-6 record for the San Francisco 49ers. Do you think this guy has a chip on his shoulder? Andy Reid, run out of Philadelphia after going to 5 NFC Conference Championship games. Do you think this guy has a chip on his shoulder? This is a marriage, a beautiful marriage. Andy Reid, Alex Smith, Jamal Charles, stud horse running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, favorable schedule. You get to play the Chargers, Phillip Rivers. Are you kidding? You get to play them twice. You get to play the overhyped, overrated, just lose baby Raiders twice a year. And if you can defend your home field, you're going to split with the Denver Broncos. So 5-1 division record. Their non-division schedule very favorable. Week 1 they play the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's one of their road games, and Kansas City's favored. Imagine being 2-14, but you're on the road your first game, and you're favored. That should tell you something. So 25-30-1 to win the AFC Conference Championship, the Kansas City Chiefs, because great running game, good offensive line, a really good quarterback who has a chip on his shoulder, the West Coast offense with Andy Reid. This team is going to be much, much improved. All they have to do, make the playoffs, and if lightning strikes and the Broncos should stumble, the Broncos are the best team in the AFC. I get that. Ideally, I want a team that has a favorable schedule, has talent. I want them to be seeded 1, 2, 3, or 4. But the Chiefs, seeded 5th or 6th at 25-30-1, value. The Chiefs, baby. That is the long shot play of the day.
Well, it's some great information, obviously, when you have Jamal Charles as your running back, very good. You've got the number 1 draft pick, the offensive lineman, and Luke Jokel, who's going to be very good for them. You have some very good receivers in Bo and Alex Smith and Andy Reid. You're right. You bring up some great points, and it happens every year. When the Rams won that Super Bowl the year before, they had won 3 or 4 games and
4-12,
and they went on to win the Super Bowl with the greatest show on turf. And there's been a stretch in the NFC South. And I think it just ended last year, where the team that had finished in last place had won that division for the following year, like 5 or 6 years in a row. So all of a sudden Tampa's terrible. The next year they win it. Then Carolina's terrible. The next year they won it. Then it's Atlanta, bad. Then they win it. Then the Saints. Now it's been Atlanta and New Orleans near the top. But again, the Saints. What about a team like the Saints that had a lot of adversity last year? Now Sean Payton is back. I'm not sure what the value is on that particular team or what their schedule looks like. But there are opportunities out there for teams. I think you bring up a great point with the Chiefs.
You talk about, I've been doing this for a long, long time, and I share this information at my sports betting seminars at Harrah's. And again, it's all documented, archived. This past year, I talked about the New England Patriots because, again, I bet teams, but I bet numbers. I can make an argument for any team if I get the right number. And Kansas City at 25-30 to 1 to win the AFC. I understand the Broncos are the best team and they're in the same division, but they're just an injury away.
Right.
And you can say that about any team. I get that. Injuries are unforeseen, but how many times does a big fat favorite stay the big fat favorite during the course of a 16-game season? If lightning strikes and Manning goes down or the Broncos just stumble, Kansas City slides in as one of the top 4 seeds. So my point is they won 2 games last year. I'm saying they're going to be considerably better. Right. 25-31. I'm taking a shot. You should consider it as well. I do want to talk about the Saints, but go ahead.
Well, what do you take in the AFC this year? How many wins will it take for the Chiefs to make the playoffs? Is 9 wins enough? They need to get to 10.
I think 9 is fine. I think
9 and 7 gets a wild
9
card?
could get you in. Okay. 9 and 7. So you're talking about a 7-game improvement with a favorable schedule, a hungry, upset team. They have proven winners, and then you also have a distinct home field advantage. There's nothing else to do. There's nothing else to do.
Lots of good barbecue.
Exactly. So I mean, they attract the fans. Now, you talk about the New Orleans Saints, the fact, kind of a zigzag. I mean, they struggled this year without Sean Payton. Will they come back strong? I say yes, but the problem has been the Atlanta Falcons. They had one weakness. Well, actually, their defense is horrendous, but on offense, they have so many weapons. The problem with the Saints, the Falcons, their arch enemy, they have gotten better. Steven Jackson.
Right.
They replaced Michael Turner. Michael Turner has been a bust the past 2 years, and yet they came within an eyelash, a 4th down conversion of going to the Super Bowl this year, and they're better this year. We talked about the Miami Heat. As good as they were last year, they're better this year, and they won the NBA title. Granted, it was a dogfight, tough to beat the best team in basketball 4 times in a 7-game series. So while I like the Saints, they'll be improved. I'm not convinced that they will knock off the Atlanta Falcons because Atlanta's better with the acquisition of Steven Jackson. They also picked up and improved defensively. Of course, they couldn't be any worse than they were a year ago.
Yeah, they struggled. But back to the Chiefs, you talk about their non-division games. They've got Jacksonville to open the season on the road, as you mentioned. They host Dallas at Philadelphia. They get the Giants. They get Tennessee. They also play Houston and Cleveland. There's some. They play Washington. So they basically play in the NFC East, that whole division. So they'll get the Cardinals. They'll get all that good stuff.
But they're also playing Jacksonville. They're playing Tennessee. Probably the Colts and Houston would be my guess. But you have to look at and the Denver. Their schedule is comparable as well. But again, 25-30 to 1. I'll take a shot.
What about a team that was an upstart team a year ago, and with the number 1 pick and Andrew Luck? What about the Indianapolis Colts? Do you think that team that made the playoffs was very improved? They outscored a lot of teams, didn't have a great defense. They had a lot of young guys who rose up. Is there a little bit of a sophomore bounce for some of those guys?
I think so. I think you have to define sophomore bounce. I call it a jinx. And I think they're in a weak division. They play outside of Houston. They play Tennessee and they play Jacksonville.
Right.
But this Andrew Luck guy is a bit of a fraud. I mean, I'm talking about the media loves this guy. We're talking about a guy who completed 54%. 54% of his passes. And yes, I get it. It's a feel-good story. They were horrific the year before. But the fact is, he came from behind game in, game out. But there's a reason for that. He was inept up until the fourth quarter where they had to make plays. I give him credit. A rookie, we don't expect a whole lot. But it's like they make it sound like this guy's the second coming of Christ, for Christ's sake. I say the Colts are a good team, but I'm not convinced this is the time to be on them. Last year was the time to be on the Colts, much like this year's Kansas City team, to me, will be last year's Colts team.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what they were 10-6, made the playoffs, lost there. I think Andrew Luck's pretty darn good. And one thing I like about him is the fact that
54%.
He's got great
54%.
courage. Yeah, but again, it was a bad team that he made a lot better. But to me, I love his courage in the pocket. He's a guy who'll stand in the pocket, and all of a sudden you'd think it's gone, and here comes the ball out of there. I think he'll be an excellent quarterback, and I think he'll have a much longer career than the other guy in Robert Griffin III, just because of the style of the play.
I agree with you, Brett. I think long term he's going to be a can't miss.
Right.
But to crown him as so good and this and that, and like he had everything to do with them improving. They were not as bad as their record from 2 years ago. They certainly weren't as good. I mean, they had their asses handed to them in the playoffs. And so I look at this team, and I look at numbers. I mean, Matt Ryan, 70%. Peyton Manning,
right.
70%. Tom Brady, 70%. This guy, 54%.
Not the same offensive line or receivers yet. Look at who he's throwing to versus who Matt Ryan's throwing to, and Julio Jones and Roddy White and Tony Gonzalez. Those guys are all pro guys, whereas the Colts were throwing to guys who were basically rookies as well. I think you got to give them a little bit of a slack. I mean, just from the standpoint of, first of all rookies got. I mean, Troy Aikman won, one game as a rookie. Peyton Manning won 1 or 2 games as a rookie. This guy won 10 with similar talent around those guys. So I think it's a little early to get too down on them.
You're listening to The Odds Couple on KSHP AM 1400 Radio, live and worldwide Vegas Video Network. Let's bring in the big bad wheel. NHL Stanley Cup Finals, Game 6, 3-2. Blackhawks leading the Boston Bruins. Boston at home, a $1.30 favorite. We're going to have to make an argument. The objective sports bettor, professional sports bettor bets with their head, never their heart. Who am I arguing for?
You got the home team.
Boston Bruins. Wow, I think 30 cents. I mean, I'm a dog player, but 30 cents is cheap. Boston, forget the fact they're down 3-2. I think they are the better team. These are not my words. Dink, my buddy Dink, from the movie Lay the Favorite, starring Bruce Willis, as Dink told me before the series started. He's a big hockey guru, and I'm smart enough to know that I'm not very smart when it comes to hockey, so I go to people who are well-versed. I think 30 cents is cheap. They have their backs against the wall. They have the best goalie on the planet. They are at home. Boston minus the 30 cents. See the cashier.
Well, on the other side, Game 5, I sent you the stat last night. Since 1939, in the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, the series has been tied 2-2 23 times. In the previous 22 meetings, the team that won Game 5 is 15-7 in Game 6 by 68%, I think that is. I thought it would be more dominant than that.
I did too.
I thought it would be more like 80-something%. So the team that's lost Game 5 has come back and actually won the series 7 times with facing elimination. So the Bruins aren't certainly a team that's out of it. They are getting a little bit healthy. The Blackhawks on the other side, I think they played a very, very good game in Game 5. They got back to, both teams had that. We had that 6-5 thriller in Game 4. Now we went back to what we thought we'd see in the series, which is better defense, better goaltending going through. Jonathan Taves is a question mark for tonight. I think he'll play going into it. But the Blackhawks now smell blood. They've got a chance to go out and win this game, clinch the cup on the road, which they did the last time they were in the Stanley Cup Finals. They won in Game 6 on the road and clinched the cup. So I'm getting an underdog with the best team in hockey. I'll take my chances at plus $1.20.
You're listening to The Odds Couple on KSHP AM 1400 Radio, live and worldwide Vegas Video Network live chat up and running. Thank you, Blake, for dialing in. Studio line is open, 702-221-7283. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
The All-Star. Have you ever thought you should be on the radio? Or have you considered doing an online video show or podcast? If so, now is your only chance to do both at the same time. KSHP and the Vegas Video Network have teamed up to provide the only multi-camera broadcast quality video and live radio simulcast in Las Vegas. And instead of having your show played at some ungodly hour, the KSHP Vegas Video Network partnership is producing shows that play from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. Imagine having your own radio show broadcasting to the entire Las Vegas Valley, and combine that with an online presence that is viewed in all 50 states and 150 countries, both live and on demand. This is a first and an outstanding opportunity to give voice to your business, your ideas, and your talent. If you'd like your own show on KSHP and the Vegas Video Network, contact us today at 221-1200. That's 221-1200.
Welcome back to the Odds Couple on KSHP AM 1400 Radio. Live and worldwide, Vegas Video Network. Scott Pritchard, featured on my site, pritchardspicks.com, joined as always by Brett Grant, the GM here at KSHP. To reach out to us, we would love to hear from you. Email us at oddscouple@vegasvideonetwork.com. That's oddscouple@vegasvideonetwork.com. Also, we would love to hear your voice on our show. Go to our site, Vegas Video Network. On the right-hand side, we have web-based voicemail. There's a red bar. Click there. In the middle of the page, a green bar. Hit the Start Record button. Live chat, as I mentioned, up and running. If you do miss us live, check us out via YouTube, Vegas Video Network, iTunes, Roku, you name it. We're everywhere, man. We're live and worldwide, Vegas Video Network. We're on local radio, Las Vegas, Sin City. Too much is not enough. Frustration. That's what my life is all about. When you bet sports, it's about frustration. Are you kidding me?
Well, how about a happy frustration? After a long, long wait, 44-year-old Ken Duke, not Duke University, Ken Duke. Who's Ken Duke? He's a golfer. He's 44 years old. He's played in 187 PGA Tour events, and he's never won. He's got the lead. He's on the 18th tee with a one-shot lead. He hits a horrible drive. He hits a pretty good second shot. He ends up making par. He's now got a one-shot lead. He's signing his scorecard. And behind him, the group behind him, there's a guy who's one shot back, who chips in from 51, 55 feet away on a ball that I think the flagstick yelled, "Ow!" It smoked the flagstick and dropped in the hole. So now Ken Duke, who is about ready to pop the champagne, goes, "Crap, I'm tied." He's got to go back and do it again. So they play the 18th hole again in a playoff, and Duke hits another. The guy hits a monster drive. Duke makes his par. Now the other guy hits a bad bunker shot. He's got 10 feet for par. The kid makes it again. And Duke's like, son of a gun, I've never won. Let me win. And finally, on the second extra hole, he stuffed one in there about 2-3 feet away, made the putt, made the birdie, and gets his first PGA Tour victory. I've never been rooting for somebody as much in my life as I was for Ken Duke. The guy should have won going in, and the guy made a miraculous shot. Then the kid made another miraculous putt to force a second hole. And just happy for Ken Duke. He now gets to play in the Masters because he won a PGA Tour event.
Are you kidding me? Toronto Blue Jays, going into the season, projected to win the American League East. They were flat out an embarrassment the first 6 to 8 weeks of the season. In last place in the American League East, projected to be first, they have been worst. Yet, they have won not 5, not 8, but 11 games in a row. We talked before on this show, ride this streak, winning streak, losing streak, streaks. I'm telling you, the Toronto Blue Jays, their pitching staff, their starters, something like 2.08 ERA during this 11-game winning streak. The one thing about the Blue Jays that no one talks about, their bullpen. Since this 11-game winning streak, 0.63 earned run average. They've been hitting the cover off the ball. I made the mistake. I bucked the trend. I like streaks, but Saturday I played Baltimore. Okay.
R.A. Dickey on the mound, right? Was Saturday?
Small favorite. 2-2, bottom of 8. Bautista, 3-2, jacked it out of the park, 4-2 final. Winner for the Toronto Blue Jays. I was a loser. But the Toronto Blue Jays, 11 straight wins. Are you kidding me?
Well, the amazing thing about the Blue Jays, when we talk about value, early in the year, I'm sure from a future standpoint, they were down around 10, 15, 20 to 1 because of all of the acquisitions they made of going out and getting high expensive players. 7 days ago, right at the very beginning of this streak, maybe 8 days ago now, when they had won maybe 2 or 3 in a row, that you could have had the Blue Jays at 100 to 1. Now
for the World Series.
To win the World Series. Now, so 50 to 1 probably to win the American League pennant, right? So now they're down again to about 20 to 1 after 8 consecutive wins. The amazing thing about the Blue Jays is they're only 3 games out of a wild card spot now. And the guy they went out and spent all the money for, R.A. Dickey, the knuckleballer, he's been probably their worst pitcher. And he has not been very good. So if they get Dickey going in the right direction, that sounded kind of odd. If that works well, then I think they're going to be very formidable in the American League East.
Time will tell. American League East is locked and loaded, top to bottom. I mean, man, those guys, teams just continue to beat the snot out of each other, unlike the American League Central, where the Tigers can take the entire season off because they get to beat up on your Indians, the Royals, the White Sox.
Indians are only 3 games out of a wild card. I'm still alive. Here's the interesting.
Every team is within 3 games of the wild card.
Even the Royals are 5.5 games back. But with regards to the White Sox, they have played 43 road games and only about 20-something home games. So the White Sox, we talk about maybe seeing something before it happens. They've got a significant number of home games coming up to the White Sox, and I think they'll get healthy in that regard.
It's a great observation. We've talked about on this show, we do a lot with hopefully some entertainment, some education. At the end of the day, we try to put you on the right side as Brett and I together put money into your pocket. I do want to explain to you what we do with baseball because it's always ATS against the spread. Football, basketball. So basketball season is over and done with. I'm 21-11, my last 32 plays documented on this show. But what we're going to do for baseball, because so many people want to hear who we like and so they can bet against us or occasionally bet with us, we're going to continue to share with you who we like. Obviously, we're just not going to keep track, and here's why. I could be a 40% handicapper in baseball and be rich if I'm taking plus 2-1 odds. Conversely, I could be a 60% win handicapper, win percentage, and be broke if I'm laying 2-1. So we're going to continue to share our opinions. We'll start with the cumulative, or whatever that word is, record, ATS, that too, once the regular season for pro football starts. So this is the part of the show where Brett Grant and I together put you on the right side.
Well, there's only 4 baseball games today, and obviously we have the hockey game, but I'm going to stick with the red-hot team. The Toronto Blue Jays are on the road. They're going down to Tampa to play the Rays, and Esmil Rogers on the mound for Toronto, and they're an underdog. Toronto's plus $1.05 when I saw it yesterday afternoon. I'm going, I'm going to take a team that's won 11 games and get them as an underdog, basically. So I'll take my chances. Jeremy Hellickson pitching for the Rays has not been excellent this year. I think there's good value to stick with the red-hot Blue Jays.
I'm looking at an American League game as well. The Baltimore Orioles are at home against the Cleveland Indians. The Orioles, a small favorite, $1.25, $1.30 favorite. I like the home team, Baltimore. I like this team. You know, it's kind of interesting because on Saturday when I bet the Baltimore Orioles against the red-hot Toronto Blue Jays, once I got late in the game, I felt good. It was 2-2 because my bullpen, man, the Orioles, last year I think it was something ridiculous. They were like, what were they? 77 wins.
Josh Johnson was great last year.
77 wins after leading after the 7th or 8th inning a year ago. And, of course, you know, I step out, bet the O's. They give up a 2-run dinger in the bottom of the 8th inning. 3-2 count, 2 out. Story of my life. Welcome to my world. Today, Baltimore at home, minus the quarter. Winner, winner. Chicken dinner. Ring up the ringer. See the cashier. I'm working on my touch.
You're killing me over there. Chris Davis has been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you talk about maybe an American League MVP candidate. He's batting .336, 27 homers, 70 RBIs, and we're still in June. That's a season for most guys. And he's already got 27 dingers, so he's been terrific for the
He's on a great pace. Let's talk as far as the division leaders at this point in time. Any major surprises? We know the Braves continue to do what they're doing. The Cardinals. What about the National League West?
Well, I think the West, the Arizona Diamondbacks are a team that very much under the radar, and I think it's because of a couple other teams haven't gotten their acts together yet. The Dodgers we talked about, but the Giants, a team with very good starting pitching. You would think going into the season, Matt Cain has not been excellent. They've gotten Sergio Romo's blown a couple saves for them as well, and they're just kind of sputtering around 500, right there with the Colorado Rockies around 500, both 3 games back of the Diamondbacks. So give Arizona credit.
American League West, the Texas Rangers, here they come again.
Yeah, they swept the Cardinals, and they now have a 1-game lead over the Oakland A's, and I guess the Cardinals are saving their important wins over Texas for October. I'm not sure what they were doing, but yeah, the Rangers are very good, and they even beat the Cardinals last night without Yu Darvish, who was scratched from the lineup. He'll pitch today or tomorrow. I guess tomorrow he'll pitch for them, but they've been very good. And the Tigers, I'll give you credit. You've been talking about them before they were struggling a little bit, and they've been terrific as well in recent time.
Well, the Tigers, of course, they won the American League pennant a year ago, went on to the World Series before ultimately losing to the San Francisco Giants. This team, I think they're better than they were a year ago. It kind of reminiscent of what I mentioned all year about the Miami Heat, the fact that they won the NBA title a year ago. Miami better than they were a year ago. The Detroit Tigers doesn't mean they're going to get back to the World Series, but I think they are better. Statistically speaking, they are better because Fister is better
Yep.
than Verlander, and Scherzer is better than Verlander. And to be better than Verlander is really saying something, but they also picked up Torrey Hunter. So defensively, they've been a pleasant surprise as well. You've been listening to the Odds Couple. We go Monday through Friday, 11A, 10A to 11A for Brett Grant. I'm Scott Pritchard. See you later.